Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. For the final video of the year, we've got some classic Call of Duty drama to dive into today. The pros kicking off over the Vaznev potentially getting banned. Scump doesn't want to see that happen at all. A lot of the ARs are pushing for it. Bazuma is standing firm that the meta is currently rather balanced and actually quite good to watch from a competitive viewer perspective. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. I thought this is kind of funny here actually for accuracy. The in-game leader, of course, captain of the Seattle Surge, looking at Simp, calling him Dominic Toretto, but, you know, pretty cool stuff. I guess this is what Simp does in his off time from playing Call of Duty at a rather high level so far this season. Quick note as well here from Doug, the Boston Reach are holding a $7,500 Modern Warfare 2 LAN, January 22nd through to the, well, 21st through to the 22nd. Not long actually before they host their own major, but it's in a different venue. So this is the Helix Esports venue in Foxborough, which I believe is like an hour outside of the Boston Center or something like that. It's near the stadium for the team that Boston also own, whatever it is, the Patriots maybe. If I've got that wrong, massive apologies. But I mean, yeah, this is what Doug's talking about. This pretty cool venue that's going to happen. So Doug will be there having a good time, I'm sure, probably talking trash on some kids as is per usual. Quick note on the maps that I did want to talk about, just because we believe that maybe at the end of this season, when the new kind of map sets launch, right? So it's going to be a 2-year cycle. We know that for the second year, like Activision aren't just going to sit there and be like, okay, lads, we're going to take no revenue this season, at least in terms of game sales, because they're not selling a new game in 23, therefore they've got to make money somehow. So what they're going to do is they're going to sell a massive expansion pack, more than likely for Modern Warfare 2, which will include all the classic maps. I'm sure they've already remade these. I'm sure that Terminal, you know, like Rust and High Rise and all this type of stuff, I'm sure it's already made and ready to go. They're just going to wait several months before they release it so they can charge massive amounts of money for it. And look, it's going to make us have a rather good map set, I'm sure, for year 2. It's going to be like the fact that maybe we can play Terminal again. It's going to be a really good time, I think. Hopefully the game is not a disaster on those maps. But I would like to see something a little bit earlier, right? Because for Treyarch, by the time, let's say, Cold War, we got to Season 1, Season 2 of the kind of game cycle, that's not like the season for the CDL, that's like the seasons that they have within the game. They were releasing Express, they were releasing Raids, they had Standoff in the game not that long after Christmas. Like, there were a lot of good things they were doing that year, and yet this season we have really none of these maps yet, because they want to sell them for money in a few months' time. So I'm sure these maps will return, but I would like to see some of these at least arrive into the game earlier. So maybe we get some more options for the map pool for the latter half of the season, but I'm not holding out all that much hope, to be honest, especially because the spawns have still been a key point of conversation. I mean, yeah, look at this spawn here from Trolley. We've got the blue team on this side of the map, and then number 8 just spawns right behind them. I have no idea what's going on. This actually might be the worst one I've seen so far, to be honest. Like, I have no idea why that's happened. He's right behind number 4 there on the map. But still, this is one of the situations that can happen right now with the spawns. Like, you'd have thought blue team would have blocked that one, but apparently not. Now, Slasher seems to slowly be getting the hang of things, right? We saw the other day that Slasher said, look, even back in Modern Warfare, he could read 95% of the spawns 3 or so years ago when the game was pretty terrible, and now he's getting some logic to it, right? As Slasher says, after getting some reps in, I definitely feel like there's some logic to it. I just think some spawn locations need to be changed. For example, Hydro P5 with the 2 back spawns, and this is where this whole idea that was raised about the map editor came into effect. We believed, and we still maybe believe, there's going to be some sort of map editor that you can bring in. Now, this isn't going to allow you to actually design the maps yourself like you can for Counter-Strike and maybe for Halo as well in the Forge or whatever they call it over there, but it will allow you to move around boxes, to move around barrels, and also to change the spawn points, maybe to block off certain things, open up other things. Like, whether that ever arrives, I don't even know, to be honest, but apparently the pros would like to see something to that effect. But also, Slasher might finally be getting the logic to this, but, well, we believe, according to Doug Martin, it's going to change on January the 9th when they bring in another set of spawns, and as he says, apparently some maps got worse, some maps got better. So for all the traction over the last few days that the negativity from the pros has got, Slasher reckons that actually it's not all bad, and some got worse, only some got better. I think there's some tweaking to be done, but actually could be okay playing it a bit more. So I guess it's one of those things where the pros play the new spawns, they're, you know, largely they're just different to the previous spawns, but, you know, they're arguably worse in certain ways, and therefore people are going to perceive it as being a negative change. And even as Parasite says, okay, spawn locations need changing, but there is still some logic to it, and even some said, look, get OpTic Parasite to be a thing back again, like he was several years ago in the Ghost days, very briefly, when Scump left to Envy. Crazy story that was, because this guy actually understands the spawns, and it might not be the worst idea, to be honest, in the world. Now, quick note as well here from the Vegas guys, just because apparently Temper's been using his IP's 2-in-1 modem router, and that's why his internet is so bad. So he reckons it's not an issue, and Clay reckons that it's a massive issue, and that's why he's getting the worst ping in the lobby. closest to the server, all this type of stuff. So maybe like a positive sign here for Vegas, just because if Clay and the guys can convince Temp that this is a bad idea, I'm not exactly sure why this is a bad idea, to be honest. I think Ben Genesee tries to explain that the router performance getting worse, 2-in-1, mediocre at best, all this type of stuff. But basically, Temp is torturing his own internet for unknown reasons to myself, and therefore if he can go on to fix this, then maybe some of Vegas's issues online will be resolved, because online they weren't looking so good, largely I think because they're not in the same place. They don't have a a venue, right? They don't have like a headquarters they go to and play from. They just play from their home monitors online, which is a significant disadvantage for multiple reasons against the other teams online. So maybe this is one small way where they can take a further step towards actually being more competitive online, which is going to be crucial for seeding and all this type of stuff if they want to achieve anything at Major 2. Let's talk about this Vaznev drama then, because this has been kicking off over the last few days. Scump gave his thoughts on this a couple of days ago now on the Vaznev, and the fact that apparently some ARs are trying to get rid of the Vaznev. Scump is not happy about this, right? They've had to change many weapons throughout the year already. He was using an M4, then when the M4 GA happened, he was now back on the Vaznev most of the time, the SMG of course in the game, and of course Scump and the SMGs aren't going to be happy with the idea that some ARs want to ban the Vaznev. Now there's been lots of drama about this over the last couple of days, a lot of AR players pushing for the Vaznev to be banned because they want their weapon to be dominating at all ranges it seems, whereas the Vaznev players seem relatively happy with this. So do you think the Vaznev is overpowered? Do you think that it's relatively balanced with the other weapons? Zuma is on board with the fact that look, the game is pretty balanced right now, the meta is actually in a pretty decent place, but some of the AR players, Methodz especially, seems to disagree quite vehemently.
GA the Vaz? What? Saying that? GA the Vaz? Oh, ain't no way people are saying GA the Vaz. Dude, can I get like a gun that I can just use for the year? Like, dude, I swear, like if they take the Vaz away, I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know what's happening. I got my M4 taken. I'm about to get my Vaz taken. No way.
Yo, Exceed is the 8th Reaper. Exceed is insane.
Yeah, he has a Vaznev, dude. I pick this thing up like on 3 sprees consistently.
Bro, I'm so tired of hearing this Vaznev.
No, Chris,
wait,
I don't care what Chris says. I play Mosh Pit every day.
Haggy, let's hear it.
I play Mosh every day.
Well, no, let's hear it.
The meta is definitely better than 1-4, but the Vaznev is really absurd.
Bro, you guys are tripping, bro.
No, I think...
Bro, you guys watch a Vaznev shotgun people from 2 feet away, and you're like, oh my god, the Vaznev is...
All the other SMGs, like you may be retired, but you're still one of those selfish little who doesn't like to give up his SMG.
No, I'm not. The ARs are the selfish who just lose full every time a sub can actually kill up close. You guys lose full when you get imploded up close by a sub.
That's not true.
So then what are you about? From medium to long range, the Scar kills in 2 bullets.
Dude, listen, I'm not gonna argue with you. Just know, traditionally, we have GA'd a lot more ARs than subs.
Wait, what the f happened to my scoreboard?
A lot more.
God. Are we watching Exceed right now?
I don't know what happened to my scoreboard.
This guy is blowing people away.
Yeah, with the Vaznev. Look at him go.
There we go.
Wait, I was gonna say...
I'm not saying the Scar is bad.
Yeah,
you guys both have valid points for sure.
And what do you think Vaznev... And what do you think...
Stay down.
Okay, then go take the long route. It's a free 30 seconds for them. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point.
What are you arguing right now? Like, what's your
argument? My argument is that both the AR and the submachine gun right now are both very good guns that kill extremely fast, except one is better up close and one is better at range. And that's how it should be.
It's way better.
Listen,
just
bro.
listen, when it comes to, like,
I think y'all are faded, bro. I think y'all are faded. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, we can agree to disagree like some grown men.
No, we can agree to disagree.
And that's totally okay.
Nah, y'all gotta keep going. Someone's gotta come out on top of this argument.
I mean, there's it's all opinion based. There's no winning it.
I mean, bro, I just think it's ridiculous to say that the Vaznev is OP. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's hilarious coming out of, like, Scar players' mouths. I think that's hilarious. Bro, a Scar kills in 2 seconds.
Even SMGs agree that, hold on.
Now, in my personal opinion, I would prefer the SMG to be more overpowered than the AR if there was a preference, right? Of course, AR players are going to disagree with this, but let's be honest here. The game is more fun to watch when you've got 3 SMGs and 1 AR rather than 3 ARs and 1 SMG. Like, would I prefer to watch someone crouch around, pre-aiming everything, just being really slow, or would I prefer to watch someone use an SMG? And also SMGs in general take more skill to use, I think. You've got to go in first, got to be aggressive. You go in, don't know where people are. The snap aim is more important. You know, having an AR player sit on a head glitch, sit back and relax, it's not the most entertaining. So just from that perspective, I do think that having SMGs at least be viable is much better for a viewing experience. And having 2 SMGs on most maps lately, and even sometimes up to 3, has been largely a better watch than we've had for some time, I'd say. Certainly the first weekend when it was just all M4s was an absolute disaster. They banned the M4, then the Scar took over, and the numbers from the Scar show that really the Vaznev isn't overpowered. Now this is from week 2, this is pre-Major 1. Towards the end of Major 1 we did see that it was almost a 50-50. We saw a lot of 2 TAC 2 Vaznev, which probably shows it's rather well balanced. And we saw what Zuma was saying in that clip there, right? He was like, look guys, the meta's pretty well balanced right now. The SMGs are very good up close, incredibly good up close. The ARs are basically unbeatable at range. That's how it should be, and I don't really get this fascination from the AR players. Maybe they're just spoiled because they have the M4 at the start of the game, that the M4 and the ARs in general, now the TAC or the Scar, should just be a dominant weapon up close. Like, the SMG should be winning up close. The AR shouldn't have much chance up close. If you've got a Scar in your hands, winning an up-close gunfight against an SMG should be a rarity rather than the norm. It should be difficult to win that gunfight. You should be at a disadvantage. That's how it is. If you're an AR player, you should be prepared. You should be pre-aimed. You should be set up, and that's how you're going to get your advantage. And if you are, you're going to dominate the other guy. If you're not, you lose. That's the way it works. That's the way it's usually always worked. And, you know, even looking back to a game like Black Ops 2, a legendary game, let's say the M8A1, mid to long range, if you're pre-aimed, that gun is basically unbeatable. Up close, though, yes, it does kill fast if you hit your bullets, but nonetheless, of course, with the movement ability and also the fact that it was a burst fire, the MSMC is going to be favored up close. That's how it is. That's how it should be. But also, the Vaznev needs to be bad at longer range. And I do think that the SMGs of the last few games have, if anything, been slightly too strong at longer range, just because, yeah, they're not really recoil anymore. Like, as I say, the MSMC back in the day, if you tried to take a long range gunfight, you would get torched by an AR, largely because your aim assist range turned off. If you tried to take a gunfight further than 30 something meters, you got 0 aim assist with the SMGs. Not the case anymore. So I can understand some ARs thinking, oh damn, that Vaznev just gunned me cross map and he's killing me up close, that's overpowered. But to me, if there's still 2 Scars appearing on basically every map as it seems there is right now, then surely it can't be that attack is the weaker weapon here and the SMG is dominating, when the reality is we're still getting a pretty even split. So I do wonder how much of this comes into the whole, you know, Methodz with a 4 stuff, right? Because this has been a classic joke over the last month or so, just because obviously Boston started out very well with the M4 in hand. The M4 got banned, and since then I don't believe they've won a series. I'm pretty sure that's the case. They're like 0-4 maybe since the M4 got banned. They were 2-0 before the M4 was banned. So, you know, some of that's probably just regression to the mean, but nonetheless an unfortunate coincidence for the Boston guys. And people would say, and maybe with some validity, the Methodz is a player going forwards under some degree of pressure. We saw what happened when he was on Toronto a couple of years ago, right, where he was dropped for insight and the team improved. There has been, of course, with Beans on the bench over at the Boston side, whether at some point if the team fails to perform, Beans comes in for one of their ARs, and there's been some pressure there kind of applied to Methodz, and that was kind of coming off him after the great first weekend that he had, but obviously they came top 16 at the majors, so those questions are circulating again, and some would say that, like, look, Methodz is trying to get rid of the Vaznev to make his job easier, therefore he can look better, therefore he can perform better, therefore he doesn't get dropped, which I don't really think is the full story here. I think there's a part of it because Methodz is an AR player, he sees what it's like to be in an AR shoes, and I think you probably always remember the times you got torched by a Vaznev rather than the times you torched them with the Scar, but you know, I think a lot of ARs maybe fall into a similar trap here, maybe even SMGs from the other way around. The biases are always there, but does Methodz want the Vaznev gone to protect his own spot? Maybe, maybe not, but also if the Vaznev is gone, what is even used in its place, right? This is the thing with the Scar. If you ban the Scar, what ARs are even left at that point? What SMGs are even left if you get rid of the Vaznev? I've been a relatively big fan of this meta recently as well, so I'm quite happy to see it continue, but very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. That is going to do it for the final video of the year. See you all in 2023. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.